since the mini banking crisis began, money has fled the banking system, especially the regional banks, because nobody wants to get stuck with the deposits the next institution to go under. But it's worth thinking about where that cash has gone. A lot of it's been invested in treasuries. A lot went to money market funds. But let's not forget about the oldest safe haven around, the one that we've favored since we started Mad Money more than 18 years ago, gold. Yep, the precious metal's up 11% since Silicon Valley Bank went under, back over $2,000 an ounce, and not far from its all-time high set in August of 2020. If you want gold exposure, regular viewers know I like the miners, particularly Barrick Gold. But tonight I've got a new one for you with a different model. It's called Triple Flag Precious Metals. These guys participate in the metals and mining industry via streaming and royalty deals with a focus on gold. Basically, they finance other miners' projects and take a cut of the project profits. It's a relatively safe way to get into the business without all the headaches that come from actually running a mine. This stock's up 21% since the banking crisis started. I wouldn't be surprised if it's got more upside, like Franco-Nevada, which we recommended to you many, many years ago. So let's take a closer look with Shaun Usmar. He's the founder and CEO of Triple Flag Precious Metals to learn more. Mr. Usmar, welcome to Mad Money.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Sir, we've always believed in your model because we like diversification. We like to make it so that we get the upside without the downside. And also, by the way, we like it without a lot of the dirtiness because you have a very good ESG ranking. That matters tremendously for a lot of our younger viewers who simply think that mining gold's an awful thing and it's dirty. So why don't you, if you don't mind, stating the case about why it might be better to own Triple Flag than it would be, let's say, to own a mine shaft somewhere in Arizona?
Yeah, it's an important thing that you asked here, and you mentioned two important names. I left Barrick, where I was CFO in 2016, to start this business with money from Elliott Management in New York. And the idea was that the mining sector, I think sometimes is misunderstood. It provides a necessary thing for society, but it's capital intensive, it takes time, and it has risk. And this is a great way with this business model, really, to be able to gain gold exposure while helping fund miners in the process. And our idea was really to create like a Franco-Nevada without the oil and gas, a high-growth business which could find the mining sector and get that sort of diversified top-line exposure in gold and silver, which really this model provides and gives you this optionality, not just the gold price and silver price, but participation in mine life extension, expansions, and things like that. So it's a model that's proven itself, and it's been a good journey for us so far in the last 7 years. And to your point, as capital providers, miners have actually been focusing importantly on ESG for a long time. The bad stuff gets the headlines, but if you're a good miner, you have to take care of your local communities and your workforce. So for us as capital providers, that means partnering with the right guys. It means investing alongside them in communities, so things like scholarships and that. And for us as well, we invest in carbon offsets. We're carbon neutral in scope 1, 2, and 3. We do very good due diligence on these projects. And at this stage, we just got our first Sustainalytics ratings, and I think we're in the top 1% of any sector that they cover, which we're really happy with.
I'm so glad because we got involved when we first started the show with a couple of companies, and they just happened to have spills. They had arsenic spills. And I never forgave myself that I actually thought that it wasn't their fault, obviously, that I recommended because I ended up with people who did the wrong thing, and other people said, why would I ever want to own a gold company? Now, one of the things that you guys do is that you're a very sought-after financier. There's a lot of money that is needed in gold, and you get to pick and choose, I imagine, because you are a well-funded organization that has great skills in actually examining and determining who's got the best finds.
Yeah, look, I started off in the space, to your point, like 30 years ago as an engineer, worked in companies like BHP Billiton, Xstrata, and then at Barrick. So, the understanding of this industry, the risks, and then building a team that can really invest for the long term and be able to attract the best opportunities has been a large part of our journey so far. I think the opportunity in the future, though, is actually more exciting than what we've seen because of things like the energy transition. And you'll see that more than 70% of our ounces actually come from polymetallics in copper mines, for example, or PGM mines or lead zinc mines. These are small byproducts. We offer a competitive cost of funding. And these are things that are going to help fuel the energy transition of the future. So it's naturally symbiotic. It's a great way to accumulate a portfolio.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but one of the reasons why I can tell you I like gold is because it's fungible, it's tangible. You can take it anywhere. Look, you can put it in your coat if you're really in the run. Some people feel like that, and history says that's not a bad way to think. But there's another offset, which is people want to own crypto. And crypto, I think, is the exact opposite of what triple flag is. I want, in your words, to be able to just explain whether you think that, say, $30,000 in Bitcoin is safer than $30,000 in triple flag.
I think in the short term, gold is real and tangible, and it's been around for thousands of years as a store of value. I remember watching one of your previous shows where you made the point that in the first sign of real trouble, not only have we seen the collapse of a Ponzi scheme in that area, but what we've really seen is that crypto is a risk asset. It is not a store of value. It is not an insurance policy during tough times, which gold has traditionally, been. And so in the times that we're in, we're seeing the role that gold can play, and crypto just doesn't really do that.
Now, I also, because I'm allowed to have mutual funds, you can have a mutual fund for the seniors and a mutual fund for the juniors of the gold miners. Can you explain why triple flag may be a more steady way to invest than, say, one of those kinds of mutual funds?
Yeah, so it was one of the appeals that I think working with Elliot on this, part of this is positioning. So we've looked to invest large sums, typically 1 to 500 million, in long life ore bodies that are in mines that are producing. You'll see about 80% of our value, in line with the biggest in the space, is linked to producing assets that have good prospectivity. The best way to have a new mine is next to an existing one, because miners will always invest in continuing to expand their mines or extend their mines if there's economic mineralization. And our contracts, we participate. Some of these things will go on for certainly beyond my natural life, and our shareholders will benefit from that. We've seen this already, where if you own you said you're a fan of gold, you own gold, there's a carrying cost associated. You don't get a dividend, which we pay. We've grown 21% year on year in actual ounces since 2017, and we started from nothing. And so at this point, we've got growth embedded in the portfolio, going from last year. We've had 6 years of consecutive records. We did 85,000 ounces of gold equivalent ounces. We'll do 100 to 115 this year. Our average beyond that is 140. We pay a dividend. You've got diversification in line with the best in the sector. And that's something it's not easy to achieve, I think, with alternatives. So you have this 90% cash margin business with the ability to reinvest and really to participate over time in these very diverse portfolios. It's a great way to participate in precious metals.
Well, I am so glad you came on, and people should know that it's much more liquid stocks listed here. They did a big acquisition, which I really liked. And this is the kind of investment, as opposed to crypto, that I believe has much more staying power. And by the way, let's say it is an investment, and crypto isn't. I want to thank you so much to Shaun Usmar, who's founder and CEO of Triple Flag Precious Metals. Really good, very clear deck if you want to learn more about it. This is a solid company. Thank you so much for coming on Mad Money, sir.
Jim, thank you.
Stay with me, buddy.